Have we finally got proof that we have been visited by aliens over and over and over again? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. And, you know, for it to come from someone like me, it doesn't really mean much. But if I was to tell you that it came from a Harvard professor, you'd probably start raising your eyebrows and think, actually, there could be some substance to this. So we're going to dive into it today. If you haven't already, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button before we get started. Subscribe if you're new. We're on the daily trend of UFO news and, you know, the latest occurrences around the UFO world. So be sure to subscribe and hang around and tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. Now, for today's video, we're going to be talking about a man called Avi Loeb. He is an American, Israeli-American. You know, he's a very experienced Harvard professor, and he basically is a theoretical physicist who works in astrophysics and cosmology. Now, that's credible. That's credible for the you know, the context of the video that we're going to be making today. He's a credible guy. He's the kind of person that you'd listen to when they say aliens could have possibly visited Earth. Now, Loeb isn't, like, you know, this isn't the first time that he's really spoken about UFOs and there being visits and things like this, but this could be one of the more credible times that it's ever kind of been brought up. And he's worked as a professor of science at Harvard University, where since 2007 he's been the director of the Institute for Theory and Computation at the Center of Astrophysics. He chaired the Department of Astronomy and from 2011 to 2020 and founded the Black Hole Initiative in 2016. He is the fellow of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences and the American Physical Society and the International Academy of Astronautics. In 2015, he was appointed the Science Theory Director of Breakthrough Initiatives and the Breakthrough Prize Foundation. He's the guy. He is literally, he's got accolades up to his ears, literally, of all sorts of things. And, you know, he's been, like, well, there has been so much that this guy's talked about. And whenever he talks, people listen. And that's why when I saw this pop up on my feed, I was like, I need to make a video about this because this could be credible. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk to you guys about was actually how a little while ago, back in 2023, kind of around the time of the David Grush incident and around the time of the, you know, Nazca mummies, Loeb basically talked about how we've got fragments of alien technology. And this was found in the sea. They basically picked it up via, like, these big-ass magnets. I know that's a very, you know, scientific terminology, big-ass magnets, but that's exactly what happened. And here he is on CBS News. This is one of the two kind of segments that I wanted to show you, talking about these fragments of alien technology. Listen to this.
Marbles that we identified through a microscope. So that's a new way of doing astronomy. Instead of looking for what's outside the solar system using telescopes, we were using microscopes. And we collected magnetic material from the ocean floor that is 2 kilometers deep. And first we put it in vials, as you see here. I just received some of the material by FedEx a few hours ago. And then...
Can we just talk about that, by the way? Like, that's just one thing that I was like, what? This guy has got potential alien technology in the palm of his hands. And they got FedEx to deliver it. I'm surprised they didn't yeet it 2 blocks away and go, here's a picture of your front door, but your parcel's 2 years away. Go and get it. Like, FedEx, of all the companies to trust with alien technology, no! You send these with, like, convoys, police convoys. You pack it up and you send it in, like, robust things like you see in the movies. Not with FedEx.
And then we filtered out the tiny particles that are volcanic ash, and we were left with particles that are 0.5 millimeter in size. We look at them through the microscope and we saw that they are spherical. These are called spherules, which are the melted droplets from the surface of the object, which moved too fast to be bound to the sun. It came from interstellar space. It's the first time that humans put their hands on material from a large object that entered the solar system from outside.
Now, that is absolutely mind-boggling, isn't it? To think that we've got that in the palm of our hands. Literally, he had that in the palm of his hand. But that's not the first time that he spoke about it. Obviously, there was also a News Nation. Of course, News Nation got their hands on this because, I mean, like, they were all over this whole alien thing with David Grush. They broke the story. It's kind of a similar story, but with a bit more context to it and a bit more about these little marbles that were recovered. So take a little listen to this.
Concealed proof of alien life to the American public. A Harvard team of researchers says they might already have some. They say microscopic debris at the bottom of the ocean floor could be from alien technology. And Harvard professor Avi Loeb led that mission to the ocean floor and joins us live now. Professor, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, Professor, can you explain what exactly did you find at the bottom of the ocean, and why does your team think that it might be alien technology?
Well, on January 8th, 2014, a meteor was detected by U.S. government sensors, and it was moving very fast. And I realized, together with my student Amir Siraj, that it was actually faster than the escape speed from the sun, from the solar system. So it came into the solar system from outside. We called it the first interstellar meteor. It's the first object from outside the solar system that was recognized. And the government also released data on the fireball that indicated that the material strength of this object was tougher than all space rocks that were cataloged by NASA. And so that raised the possibility, since it's moving faster than 95% of all the stars in the vicinity of the sun, it may be aided by propulsion, and moreover, it may be made of some artificial alloy that makes it tougher than even iron meteorites. And this is not a philosophical question. We decided to go to the Pacific Ocean and search for any relics from this object.
Now, that begs the question, obviously, what is it? Is it actually just a comet, or is there something more to it? Could it have been a crashed UFO craft? I mean, he's talking about propulsion, he's talking about basically this layer of armor being around it, and it not being recognized of anything from within our solar system.
And amazingly enough, we found them. We found tiny millimeter-sized spirals. These are metallic marbles embedded within the volcanic ash on the ocean floor that is more than a mile deep. And we surveyed a region that is 10 kilometers in size with a sled that is only 1 meter in width. So think of it as a heroic effort to find tiny fragments from that explosion, and we found them.
And what did the metallic marbles tell you? Why do you think it's alien technology?
Well, we don't know yet, so now we are examining them with the best instruments we have at Harvard University. And soon enough, within the coming weeks, we should know the composition and the isotopes that make these marbles, and figure out whether they are natural, similar to rocks in the solar system, or something unusual, like an artificial alloy, like steel, for example.
So how, at this point, I know that, excuse me for interrupting, I know that the analysis is still ongoing, but at this point, how likely is it that you think that this is alien technology?
Oh, at this point, we don't know for sure,
okay.
But we are, at this point, what we are trying to see is whether the composition is different from rocks. Okay, that's the fundamental question. And then just think about these spherules as romantic rose petals leading us to our partner, so to speak, because they indicate the path that the meteor took, and there may be a bigger relic, the size of a meter or so, left on the ocean floor, which we are aiming to find next. So really the goal would be to find whatever big core of this object was, and then it will be obvious whether it was a rock or a spacecraft. The reason, to think about a spacecraft is if you think about Voyager, it went into interstellar space, and it could collide with an exoplanet in 1 billion years, and it would appear as a meteor. And all one needs is to examine whatever is left from this first interstellar meteor to figure out whether it was artificial or natural. And, this is the first opportunity for humans to put their hands on an object that came from outside the solar system.
Okay, fascinating. And it sounds like there are so many questions yet to be answered. So I'm going to let you get back to your research, Professor, and please check back in with us when you find out more results. I would love to know the origin, the alloy, all of it, what it's composed of, and if you end up finding that big other object, we'll check back with you. Harvard Professor Avi Loeb, I appreciate you spending some time with us. Thank you.
Now, that is absolutely amazing. Just the whole thing is amazing. Now, from my research, I couldn't find there was conflicting articles on results, so I need to kind of narrow it down and find out what the actual results were. And as of yet, from what I've seen, they haven't found that big meteorite that they were talking about and discussed whether it's a craft or whether it is truly a meteorite. Maybe they have, and maybe it's been hushed up because what a surprise if something's been hushed up by the government, eh? But anyway, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And you're probably thinking, this is old news. I know about this. Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But either way, if some people, that'll be new information for them. But for other people, it provides a little bit of context as to who Avi Loeb is and who and the kind of work that he does behind the scenes. Now, there was also a podcast come out recently, about 4 days ago at the time of recording, and it is the Basement Hangout podcast. And basically, again, Avi Loeb was on this podcast, and he spoke about having high-level officials from Lockheed military base visit him and ask him about UAP tech in the hands of private industries. Now, if you think back to a couple of videos ago where I was talking about Nav Canada, they're sitting on 25 years of UFO information, and they are unwilling to release that information. Now, if you want to know a bit more context about that, it's about 2 days ago I uploaded that video, and it goes hand in hand with this theory that Avi Loeb talks about in this podcast clip. I wouldn't be surprised if they did have something, but let's listen to what Mr. Loeb has to say.
I should say that the evidence may be in the hands of corporations outside government. So, for example, I had a high-level official, a person who used to be a high-level official in Lockheed Martin, visit my home a few months ago, and I said, what do you think about David Grush's testimony? And I expected him to dismiss it. I said, is it conceivable that Lockheed Martin, for example, has any materials related to those programs? And he said, I would not say that it is wrong. And that surprised me. So maybe there is something, but I haven't seen anything to support it as of yet.
Interesting.
So it's real, Bob.
Yeah, he confirmed.
Yes.
No, it's not confirmed.
No, I know.
I have. But let's put it this way: it's not completely ridiculous.
Now, just listen to the terminology. It's not completely ridiculous. Obviously, not confirmation. It's not the big yes that we were hoping for, but it's edging towards that big yes, isn't it? And you got to think, this is amazing because David Grush, though he, in his original interview, was talking about these things, he's actually come out recently and kind of alluded to having first-hand experience and actually seeing these craft himself, which is amazing. And apparently he's going through these one of these organizations to be able to release that information. You have to submit your information to this organization, basically, and then they release the information on your behalf. But there's loads of steps in the way, so it's probably going to be a good few months to a year before we probably see anything about that. But all of this has been building to this moment, this very moment in the video. New information that Professor Avi Loeb claims that UFOs could have traveled to Earth via extra dimensions that CERN scientists are trying to unlock. Oh my god. Now this this article does come from the Daily Mail, but cross-referencing it, there were a few other outlets that kind of had the similar story, so take it with a pinch of salt. But this one was the most in-depth article that I could find. So CERN scientists are seeking evidence of 6 extra dimensions. My god. Professor Avi Loeb believes aliens might travel through such dimensions. Oh my god. And I've actually got a video coming up about, not about this, but about something CERN found in their LHC, Large Hadron Collider, which is going to absolutely blow your mind. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel for that video coming in the next couple of days. But they basically found like an extra dimensional being within the CERN Collider. Now, I'll talk about that another time in more depth about what they actually found. But the government is yet to unravel mysterious sightings of UFOs soaring through our skies, but Harvard professor believes the answers may sit 300 feet below the surface. Avi Loeb, known for his efforts, basically we all know about Avi Loeb, but the accelerator, the Large Hadron Collider, blasts particles at nearly the speed of light. It basically is the speed of light. It's like, because we can't actually reach that kind of speed yet, it's like 99.9999999% like recurring close to the speed of light. It's literally like a tiny little fraction off the speed of light. It's amazing. If you don't know how the Large Hadron Collider works, by the way, little side note, go and check that out because it's just absolutely amazing to watch. Anyway, so they do this with the hopes to recreate the conditions of the Big Bang, with the hopes of uncovering hidden dimensions that will reveal how our universe was formed. How amazing is that? Speaking on a new documentary, Loeb said that alien civilizations may have been developing dimension-hopping technology for billions of years, with a B. The physicist who also noted that extraterrestrials are using theoretical quantum gravity engineering to travel through curled dimensions that humans can only detect in the particle accelerators such as CERN. How amazing is that? The Harvard scientist said in the documentary, quote, "The paranormal UFO connection that if alien technology is able to reach our doorstep, we would be awestruck because it would represent something we don't possess. Just like a cave dweller coming to a city like London or Europe and seeing all of the technological gadgets there," said Loeb. It truly would be. We would just be these minuscule little things in a great big ocean. There will be a sense of religious awe, and we wouldn't understand it, especially if we are dealing with effects of quantum gravity that we have any clue about. So, yeah, basically it goes on to talk about this and how underground the LHC is located in the borderland of France and Switzerland, and it first went live in September 10, 2008. In 2012, they used it to discover the Higgs boson, or God particle, which was missing a piece of the in the jigsaw for physicists trying to understand how the universe works. So basically they're trying to unlock this understanding of how the universe works, and in doing so they might be discovering extra dimensions. This is crazy. Now this obviously isn't the first time, but I want to take it back to one of the first congressional hearings where David Grush kind of sat and spoke. It was the first one since his kind of whistleblowing interview on News Nation. And the terminology that he used was not alien or extraterrestrial. It was an interdimensional being. If you remember that interview, you'll remember that he only referred to them as interdimensional beings, which literally goes hand in hand with this theory right here that CERN are trying to create. And it's just mind-boggling. Now, I know people take my, excitement as immaturity. I've seen a few comments about it, but don't discredit the video for that, because I just get so excited at what I'm reading and what I've discovered, because it just unlocks. And when you piece all that, like, you got to think, all of these videos that we do together, they're just pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. And this is one of those instances where two of those pieces are clipped together and we can start building from it. And it's so exciting because we've literally worked this all out on our own. Like, obviously not me, because I'm not a physicist at Harvard University, but, piggybacking off of Avi Loeb, we've done it. So, what do you guys think of this? Let me know down in the comments below. Is this an interdimensional being? Is David Grush's analogy of these beings correct? Does this kind of credit David Grush's statement? And what do you make of the whole thing? be sure to keep an eye out for that CERN video coming up recently. If you haven't already, be sure to get down there, jump scare the hell out of that like button, subscribe if you're new, and tickle my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And until next time, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed. Cannot wait to see you in the next one, and we'll speak to you later. Peace.